This is Daniel Sheehan from Ringwalk TV. Delighted to be joined by the voice of boxing, Adam Smith, in the final month of what's been an absolutely pulsating year in the world of boxing. Adam,
It
first of all,
has.
how are you?
Yeah, good to see you. I know you've been on the circuit a lot recently. Seems to be week in, week out, we're getting more and more drama just coming off a fabulous trip to Monaco. I thought that was one of the best fight cards of the year. But then, what, 2, 3 weeks earlier, we had Eubank Ben and also the big ring card in Riyadh. So it's just been from sort of strength to strength these weeks. It's been an incredible year. I remember talking to Eddie and Frank at the end of 2024 and saying, I wonder if 25 can be even better. And I think it has been. I think there's just some extraordinary action, some great fights, some stories, some stars made. A couple of tragedies, of course, particularly losing Ricky Hatton, which was really difficult. But I think, yeah, look, it's been a year to certainly remember. And I think what His Excellency Turki Al Sheikh has done over the last 2 or 3 years is building this amazing foundation for fights to be made all over the world. And I think that we're doing the same thing in the UK. We had it in Monaco. That was like a mini ring event almost. It felt like the 50-50 matches, the pulsating contests. And yeah, look, I think ultimately, so long for me, it's all about fighters and fans. That's why I launched my own channel, The Voice of Boxing, because I adore and respect every single boxer that gets in the ring. And I love fight fans because I am one. And I think that the most important thing of the last year, 2, 3 years, really, is that fighters are getting paid really good money. Certainly the ones at the higher levels, and then we're getting fans are getting just terrific action. I mean, DAZN has become the center, the hotbed. Almost when I do promos there on a Saturday, you're talking about stuff on a Wednesday, Thursday, the next weekend. It's sort of relentless almost. But if you're a fight fan, it's just fantastic. And obviously, Ben's gone on to the BBC. We wait and see what Sky are going to do in the new year. But yeah, boxing's all over the place. Netflix, of course, next week, and they've had a few shows already. So the more people, in my eyes, or the more eyeballs that get onto our amazing sport, the better. And yeah, we're going through a really, really exciting period.
Most definitely, and boxing certainly is in a great place, and it's great to see you at the helm of the commentary week in, week out. If I may ask you, Adam, personally, you've been incredibly open over the last period of time about your health journey. How has what you went through in that experience sort of changed your approach to work, the sport, and life in general since you've been back?
Hey, Dan, that's a great question. And, I'm doing something with Tyson Fury later, and he hit rock bottom. He's very open about mental health. And I think when you do hit the floor and you find out what's important in life, really. I mean, I thought I was going to die. I had a really, really difficult cancer. I have a stoma as a result of it, which has its own day-to-day issues. But it keeps me alive. And I had my bladder, my prostate ripped out. I had a number of months in hospital recovering from all sorts of different things that were associated with it. And then it was months of chemo. It was a really difficult year, and as a couple of times where I didn't think I was going to get through, or whether I'd even come back to boxing if I did get through, because your family are thinking, hang on a minute, you've got cancer at a pretty young age, and you've been running around the world for 25, 30 years in boxing in a crazy sport, which is 24/7. Once you're in, you don't get out. It's a traveling circus. It's the Wild West. It's the unpredictable, compelling drama that we all love. It's storytelling at its greatest of any sport. And I love all sports. And I was thinking, do I go into football or darts or cricket or do something else? And I didn't. I wanted to come back to boxing because I love fighters, and I missed it, and it was really difficult being away. And I think when I came back, I gently came back. I took a couple of positions with Summit Sports and GBM, and started freelancing a little bit, and yeah, just sort of got back around the scene. And then, fortunately, DAZN came knocking, and we got a deal done, which was brilliant, and I'm loving working for DAZN. I really enjoyed, obviously, all my time at Sky. They gave me amazing opportunities to do the best fights, to travel the world, to run a team, to work with some unbelievably creative people. But I think that journey sort of ran its course, and I needed a change, and I feel really happy now in a sort of freelance world where I'm working for DAZN. I have a half an hour slot with Andy and Darren on Talksport every Tuesday. I'm doing some writing, which I'm really enjoying. I'm doing the odd event in the boxing and darts world, and so yeah, I'm really happy. But just to be back with regularly at ringside with a mic in my hand, I was lucky enough to be alongside the likes of Jim Watt and Carl Froch and Matthew Macklin, of course, Johnny Nelson, my sidekick for many years, Paulie Malignaggi, some unbelievable sort of co-commentators and pundits. And now I'm in with a whole new lot of incredible analysts in Darren Barker, in Barry Jones, in Sonny Edwards, who I'm really enjoying working with. Carl Frampton, I watched him on TNT for years, and I just hoped that one day we'd end up doing stuff together. Adi Oladipo, these are Tony Bellew. This is it's a fantastic team. And I'm really proud to be a small part of it. And I love the DAZN guys and girls behind the cameras. They're very creative. It reminds me of the early days of Sky almost. And I'm really pleased to be back working with both Frank and Eddie, because I had 15 years with Frank, 10 years with Eddie, and I guess I missed them. I had my time with Ben, but yeah, it's nice being back with people, I guess, that have been part of my tapestry, part of my history. Um, and yeah, being holding a mic again, I think after my journey is just I'm really grateful. I'm really grateful to be back doing what I love. I don't take any day for granted now. I get up in the morning. I'm in a bit of pain with my stoma, and that passes, and I'm just grateful to be here. It's another day. It's 3 years almost since my operation, and I have beautiful children and a wife and family, and I'm very lucky. So I think my whole look at life has changed, and my perspective now is I'm more grateful than ever to be holding a mic and being back right where I love at ringside, and just calling fights, which is what I've been doing since I was 9 years old. So yeah, I love it.
Amazing. Well, I think I speak for all the fight fans that it's amazing to see you back in health and back in with a microphone in your hand, as you say. So fantastic. But as we move on slightly towards the boxing, of course, there is a huge fight week coming up. Let's start, if we may, with the matchup that it's in a lot of people's minds: AJ versus Jake Paul. How are you looking at that fight? About what is nearly a week out now?
Well, it's a fight that everybody's going to watch. Wherever you are in the world, I'll be in Ghana, other people will be in the UK, and some will be in Miami. I'm sending Andy Levada, my business partner, to Miami because, yeah, it's a very curious situation, isn't it? I mean, AJ is a massive favorite to win the fight, and there was questions of whether it would be an exhibition, whether it would be a fight, what would it be. Professional fight, you can't see past Joshua winning almost when he wants to. um, he's a former two-time heavyweight champion of the world, former Olympic gold medalist, who has got so much hunger still for the sport that he's gone to Gandia and teamed up with Alexander's team, who are phenomenal. And yeah, for Jake, it's more sort of why I guess Jake is doing it. Is it to say, hey, I went in with one of the best heavyweights of this era? Is it to say, does he actually think when he puts his head on the pillow that he's going to win? Does he look at the knockdowns of Ruiz or Dubois and think he's going to land one haymaker and change the face of boxing? Look, if it did, I guess it would be the biggest upset there's ever been. But I can't see it happening in any sort of normal world. And I think I've spoken to Freddie Cunningham and the team, and I think it's an opportunity for Anthony to make a lot of money, to get onto Netflix. DAZN have given him the pass, and he'll be back on DAZN early in the new year. And then obviously we'll be hoping for a Tyson Fury fight at some point. But for me, I see it as, yeah, a chance for him to get out again after 14, 15 months of being, when we last saw him, he was dismantled by Daniel Dubois in an incredible performance by Triple D. And you wonder what was left for AJ, but he wants it. I know him well. He's going to be in phenomenal condition. Okay, he's got to come down a little bit, but yeah, I can't see a world class heavyweight against a guy that I've got huge respect for. He's a YouTube fighter who's trained hard, who's had several wins and a defeat, Tommy Fury. Let's not forget that. I didn't particularly like the Mike Tyson event. I loved Katie Taylor and Serrano, but I didn't like Mike being sort of brought out at 58. I thought that was, anyway, they got out safe and sound, so that was good. Yeah, look, we're all going to watch it because we don't know how long it's going to last and whether he can land anything on him. I mean, the height, the reach, everything tells me that unless Joshua drops his hands and slips over, but it's boxing. And I guess you never know until that bell rings. You don't actually know. I mean, some people say it's get the stopwatch out. It's going to be 10, 20 seconds. I don't think Joshua is like that. I don't think he's like a Mike Tyson who'll just run over and try and rip through you in the first 30. I think he'll take his time. I think he'll get his jab going. And I think he won't make any mistakes in there. And I think he'll take him out when he wants to. And I guess for Jake, if he lasts a round or two or three, then maybe that's what this is about, as well as a ton of money and a ton of exposure, and him saying, look, I gave it a go. But I think maybe in Jake Paul's head, he thinks he's going to win. He's been sparring with the likes of Lawrence Okoli, Frank Sanchez, and whether it's hard sparring, we don't know. We won't know until the bell goes. So ultimately, people are going to complain, say it's not good for boxing. It's a mismatch. It shouldn't happen. But there's going to be so many eyeballs on it. And we are in the entertainment business. And boxing is what these YouTubers have tried. I worked with KSI and Logan Paul on Sky, and I really enjoyed my experience with them. I have respect for anyone that puts the gloves on and gets in the ring. Do I think it's an even fight? Do I think it's a fight that should in any way be competitive? No, but that's the curiosity. We've seen upsets in this sport before, but I think this would be off the charts, wouldn't it?
It most certainly would. And of course, you'll mentioned you'll be in Ghana next week for Dan Aziz against Craig Richards, and also a big undercard. There's also a fight card in the week before, Vizioli against Howarth Wednesday night at the O2. What do you make of these two cards all in the same week of what is a huge week in the sport?
Absolutely, and then it's Night of the Samurai in on December the 27th. I'm not covering everything, but I'm covering some. I'm going to be in Ghana and then Nigeria as well. That is with Lawrence Okoli and David Adelaide, and yeah, it's fantastic. There are so many fight cards around the world. I can't wait to go to Ghana, particularly because some of the great fighters that I grew up on, Azuma Nelson, some of the great fighters I worked with, like Ike Corte, all come from Bukum in Accra, and I'd love to see it. So Darren Barker and I are going out, and honestly, we're like two kids in a sweet shop. We just can't believe that this business has allowed us to travel and allowed us to see parts of the world. And I think Africa is really getting serious about sport, about boxing. I think AJ wants to fight there. We've seen some cards already that Amir's put on. Looking forward to being in Nigeria for that show. They've had like two already, and I've tried to get out for both, but I haven't been able to for things over here. So I'm really pleased to be having that trip out to Africa. I'll be watching Vizioli with interest. I think he's a really good fighter, but how's a decent test? That's a good little card. Tia May Ayton, one of my favourite young female fighters. And just a word about Elif El Turman the other night. I mean, how incredibly powerful was she? I mean, ice cold, terrific performance to beat Beatrice Ferreira on a great night in Monaco. But TMA is someone I'm keeping close eyes on, and I'm close to her. I think she's going to be an absolute star of the sport. So it's good to see her on. I think Leo Atang out in Africa, I think, as well. Dan Aziz, Craig Richards, really good fight card for Matchroom on the 20th. And Nigeria, a day away from that. So look, we've got a lot happening. Obviously, you've got Inoue back on the 27th. So within a 10-day period, you have boxing from the Indigo, from Accra, from Nigeria, from Riyadh, the best in the Japanese fighting world as well. It's extraordinary what's happening. And then, of course, you've just had the announcement for Shakur and Tiafimo in America. We've got a monster first quarter of 2025, 2025, 2026. I can't tell you everything, but what I've heard is some phenomenal nights from the Ring, from Matchroom, from Queensbury, of course, and also Boxer have got a big show as well. Callum Simpson in Leeds. I'm close to Callum. He's best mates with a fighter I'm helping a little bit called Carl Davis from Stoke. They spar a lot together. Carl's actually been helping Craig Richards prepare for Down Disease, um, but he's got Callum's got a big show, and I'm hearing Adam Azim will be back at the end of January as well. So BBC are back in the game. We wait to see what Sky do. I hope that Sky have dates in 2026, and I hope that the Zone continue to roll out incredible nights every week or every other week. I mean, it just is an unbelievable time for boxing, and it just shows. I mean, we all want a bit of a Christmas off with the families. But it's a bit truncated this year, and January is a very, very fast start. Amanda Serrano back on the 3rd of January on the Zone. The 10th we're in Germany for Ajit Kabayel. You know, it's non Moses the 24th. It's non-stop. So yeah, I'm hoping to get a few days to have a bit of turkey and pigs in blanket and some stuffing with the kids, and hopefully get a little sort of time with them. And then yeah, I'll be back for a very, very exciting 26.
Certainly will be a big year coming up. And even as we reflect on what has been a fantastic 2025, what do you think, Adam, have been the standout moments for you or potential fight of the year contenders? And maybe that Eubank senior moment, was that boxing's moment of 2025? He's here. You heard you saying on commentary.
It was certainly the most surprising moment of, or in a tragic way, so was Ricky. So I think for me, 2025 will be remembered for Ricky Hatton. And I'm still missing my mate. And I think there's a lot of people around the country that feel the same way. Not just his friends in Hyde, but people that have been really affected by it. And I don't think I remember ever having so many 10 bells at every single different promoter shows, which seem to go on and get more and more sort of either silences or cheers and singing the Hitman songs. That's probably been the tragedy of 2025, but also a chance, I guess, to reflect and remember those great days with Ricky. In terms of action, you've got to put Eubank Ben One up there as a fight of the year for the pulsating 12-round contest it was, and the fact they delivered after all the hoo-ha in the build-up. And yeah, the moment when Senior came out was, I mean, genuinely that sort of WWE moment where you just didn't expect it. And I'm so glad they didn't tell me or Darren, and it was just a natural reaction. I mean, Fabio Wardley's punch from the gods at Portman Road was another moment of extraordinary drama. I mean, lots of stuff. The cards in Riyadh, watching Bam Rodriguez in the flesh was fantastic. I love that. But just in Monaco to have, you think recently, and there was just such a great fight card. And we've had so many. Moses Atalma coming through. I think it's been a big story this year, of course. A lot of great young fighters. I mentioned Leo and Tia May. Katie Taylor's win over Amanda Serrano in the summer was just, she rolled back the years. It's great. So many, Jake Paul has signed up so many women, given them phenomenal opportunities, which I think is really exciting. Yeah, Ben Whittaker bouncing back after what happened to him in Riyadh in the first fight with Liam Cameron. Just so many. The light heavyweight division on fire. Sonny Edwards keeps telling me he's not coming back, but maybe he's coming back, but he's not coming back. But fighters are unbelievable, aren't they? They just are. They're just wonderful characters, and I guess that's why we miss Ricky so much, because he was the one that you got closest to. He was a man of the people. But yeah, we have to deal with these things. Great seeing a film on Prince Nassim Hamed out. Spent time with Joe Calzaghe earlier in the year. Lots of things have stood out to me, past and present. And yeah, I just think my wish list for next year is huge. I want to see, obviously, Boots and Virgil. I can't wait for Tiafimo and Shakur. And Nakatani and Inoue and Fury and Joshua, and I mean, there's endless fights you can make, and that light heavyweight division is just, as like I've said before, but it is just phenomenal. And at heavyweight, we're going to watch Moses and see whether he is the heir apparent. Will Usyk fight Wilder? Will Usyk call it a day? Will he carry on? Lots of things to think and mull about. But I think we'll remember 2025 as an incredible year in terms of fight action and stories and amazing moments, but also it will be tinged with sadness that we lost, in my opinion, the people's champion and the fighter that I grew up with in boxing, in Ricky Hatton. And yeah, that will always haunt me a little bit. As we all come to terms with it, I guess. But yeah, it's been a phenomenal year for fighters and for fans in terms of matchups and exposure and all that sort of stuff. It's been great. Lauren Price, I forget. I mean, what a superstar she could become as well. There's just so much that's happening, and as we said, it's happening every week.
Definitely, so much happening, so much to look forward to, and yeah, like I say, week by week, we're hearing your name, and millions of people are hearing your voice on the biggest fights around the world. But I suppose what people rarely see is what goes into that from your perspective. So I want to know, what kind of preparation does it really take to call a fight? You know, days going into the fight week, and into the fight night. What's a day-to-day process like for you, Adam?
Yeah, look, I mean, I take it very seriously. I prep, all the fights that are on a card. There's certain amounts of stats and reading and all of that, notes, or obviously you can go through all different boxing newses and the internet and bits and pieces. But I think most of my stuff comes from communicating, talking, being around the fight scene. Like if I'm around every week, if Andy and I are there for the voice of boxing, we're going to pick things up. We're going to pick things up from trainers, from friends, from mums, dads, from fighters themselves. Just being in Monaco, for example, for a couple of days and seeing the weigh in and being around the fighters' hotel, you just get little nuggets. Um, I Jim Watt, Bob Meany, Ian Dark, the greats of the past always used to tell me, just be around, be in conversations. You never know what's going to come up. So I just love being around fighters, and I think that yeah, when you call a fight, it happens in front of you. You're as the lead commentator, you are describing and the action and making it, I guess, exciting for the viewers at home, for the fans at home. You paint the picture and you tell the stories. But sometimes in a quiet fight, you need to bring out little tales, little nuggets, little things, maybe to relate it to other things. But commentary's a conversation, right? I've commentated on my own, and it's just not the same, right? You need colleagues, you need partners, you need people to work off, you need fighters that have been in the ring, and they're in the ring, they've been in the ring, they know what it's like, they know what it is when there's a tough time at the end of the eighth round and you've got four to go. They know what it's like being knocked down. They know what it's like winning an amazing fight, being an underdog, all those sort of things, dealing with the lights, the acclaim, the attention of the fans, the fight weeks. They're experts. So I like the fact I'm around people like Barry and Darren and Carl and Tony, who've been through it, and I've been through their careers as well. We talk a lot, and when you're in commentary, it's a bit like an orchestra. It's conversational. It's You want to get the best out of them. They often give you things to think about during the commentary. So we've all got slightly different roles, but it is I guess it's a quorum of us. It's a group of us. So yeah, look, I like to prep well. I don't like to go in. If you said to me, "Oh, you got to go and commentate on something tonight," of course I would. But I think that the more preparation you put in, the better. Um, Fail to prepare, prepare to fail is what Muhammad Ali said. It's what I tell my kids every day. If you don't put work in, I don't care what my kids end up doing. They should do what they love. That's what I ended up doing. I wanted to be a sports commentator at 9, 10. And that's what I spent my life doing. So do something that you love and have a passion for. And as Eddie will say, you never work a day in your life, but put the work in, put the dedication in. And if you put the dedication in, and you put the preparation in, then you should be okay. And of course, things happen live, things are unpredictable. It's a crazy sport. We've seen everything in a ring, and then you get something new. So yeah, look, um, it's very bouncy, it's very unpredictable, it's very exciting. But I think the more preparation, and you don't sometimes even have to use those statistics, or use them from time to time. But when you really want to bring something out, sometimes the fight's over in the first 90 seconds, like Dillian White and Moses. And you can do all the prep in the world, but ultimately just calling 90 seconds of action. So you don't need it sometimes. But if it's I don't know, 12 round chess match and fans are starting to get a little bit itchy, then you need to bring something in, because ultimately it is entertainment. Otherwise, people won't tune in. They tune in for the fights, but they also tune in to find out about the characters. Because if you're not interested in someone, they're not going to watch. So you've got to be hooked in. And people like Moses and Ben and TMA, they're easy to hook into because they've got great stories. So hook in and follow them and follow their journeys. And all we're doing is painting the pictures for the fans, because we are fans. Ultimately, if we weren't commentating, we'd be watching. So, and it's subjective. We're going to be there to be shot at. Sometimes people don't agree with our cards or our opinions or whatever. It's not us that matters. It's the judges. We're just showing our love and thought for it. But it's good that Darren and Barry and Carl we've all been watching boxing for so long that we can sort of feel it as it goes. We're not always right. We get things wrong, but ultimately, I'm glad to be working with amazing analysts. I love working with Matt and Johnny and Carl and everyone at Sky, Tasha. But I've got another batch, and they are tip top, this lot. And I don't want to let them down. I don't want to let anyone down. So I have to be fully prepared each and every time.
100%. It's so interesting from my perspective to see what goes in from it as a fan who's been watching for so many years, and somebody who's trying to make their way into the industry. And from a personal perspective, I turn 25 on Sunday. It's my birthday this Sunday coming.
Happy birthday.
Appreciate it. I'd like to know what advice would you give somebody at this stage of life who's chasing their dreams and their passions? You mentioned that follow what you love, and boxing something I love. So what words would you have, Adam?
Do what you're doing. Commitment, dedication, passion. Knock doors down. Turn up. Um, don't be a nuisance, but be eager and be interested. Be around. Be available. Be nice. But be tough. Look after yourself as well. It's a difficult industry, and yeah. Look, I'm me. I go around from fight week to fight week as a fight fan, as someone who likes talking to fighters, who likes doing it. Unfortunately, I've got a good relationship with Eddie and with Frank and with Ben and with all of them and the fighters, because I think of that respect. I've had my ups and downs, of course. There's arguments at times. People have a go at commentaries, or they don't like you doing something or whatever. When I was ahead of Sky Sports Boxing, obviously there was all sorts of things to sort out. But I think in my role now, where I'm really grateful to be alive and to be healthy and to be cancer free, yeah, just getting amongst it. I mean, and you learn every single day. Before I went to Gandia, I didn't know how Alexander Usyk trained, and I learned so much in the days I had over there. And it goes back to when I was in Floyd Mayweather's gym 25 years ago and learned so much there. So I think be a sponge, turn up, um, just keep going and be dedicated. And yeah, think of different angles. Think of interesting questions that maybe others haven't, or a different style. Of course, you've got to have your own, but be you, be authentic, and if you really want to do it, you'll be a massive success.
Appreciate it. That's very kind of you, Adam. And just a final question here, as we move into 2026 and what will be a huge year, just sort of maybe a preview in your mind. What do you think fans can expect going into the new year in terms of boxing action?
I think we're going to expect more of the same, if not even bigger. I think Turki Al Sheikh has set the standards, and I think that he will continue to put on huge shows with the Ring magazine. And it'll be interesting to see what Zuffer come up with Dana White. What are Netflix going to do? What are the other streaming platforms? As far as we go on to Zone, there's going to be, I don't know the numbers, if it's 180 or 200 fight nights a year, but it's pretty much every other day, I'd say, or two on a Saturday and two on a Friday. It's phenomenal. It's ferocious. It's fun. It's terrific from all sides of the globe. We're going to get great fight action in the States. I think more in America now. I think that sleeping giant has been awoken. I think Mexico, South America, Australia, seeing Japan is definitely going to. Africa is coming up. I think it's becoming much more global. And in the UK, I think we've got some of the best promoters in the world, if not the best, in Frank, in Eddie, in Ben, in Izzy Assey for GBM, who was calling just at the start of this interview. He's put on a number of shows this year, and okay, it's not the maybe the level of Matchroom and Queensbury yet, but Izzy was out in Monaco with Sean McComb getting that win, that away win, and he's going to be a factor next year, and there'll be others coming through. There's the top tiers, there's some of the smaller hall promoters. I think, as I say, Sky will come again. And in terms of actual fights, I think we're going to see Fury and Joshua. I think it will happen, probably August, September in London. I think it will. And I think you're going to see Usyk back in a ring. You're going to see Moses' development. So the heavyweights are going to be fun. Cabayels, all of that. We're going to Fabio Wardley. He's become a world champion, but really he needs to fight a big fight. Will he fight Daniel Dubois? The women's situation is fantastic. It's unbelievable, and I'm so proud of that because it's something that I've been really trying to help push since the very beginning, since Savannah Marshall and Katie were coming on the scene. So I'm so delighted about that. Yeah, I just think so many fights have been made. Like if you look at Frank's light heavyweights, if you look at Eddie's success with Ben and Connor recently, the likes of Lewis Crocker selling a massive night out in Belfast, and let's go to Croke Park with Katie. I mean, I could talk all day about what we could have next year, but I really think that probably 60-75% of that will happen. And I think that 3 or 4 years ago, maybe 10% would have happened. So let's enjoy. We've got an incredible last 3 weeks of the year. We've got a fantastic January, February, March. I love Wood Warrington. I know people say they're at the end of their careers, but it's a fantastic story. It's a great rematch. I love that, for example. There's big fights that are going to be announced in February and March from Queensbury coming up soon. I'm looking forward to George Liddard. Could he one day sell out West Ham? There's all these stories that are out there, and some are gonna make it, some aren't, but we're all going to be part of the journey. It's exciting. Like this weekend, I haven't got anything on Saturday. I'm going up to Nottingham to pick up my daughter, who can't wait, by the way, for Wood Warrington. Lee Wood has tried to help her when she's been in Nottingham Trent, which is fantastic of him. And I'm going to pick her up and bring her back for Christmas. But I'll be coming back, and of course it will be DAZN, Pacheco, and Cordina and Sky Nicholson, and I mean it just doesn't stop. That's brilliant.
Most certainly, yeah. So much to look forward to, and so grateful for what we've seen as boxing fans in the last many years, to be honest with you. But yeah, like we say, if we don't speak again this year, Adam, I want to say thank you very much for all you've given the sport this year. It's great to see you back in full health, and looking forward to an even bigger and better 2026.
Great chatting. Happy birthday, happy Christmas, and yeah, I'm sure you'll go from strength to strength in 26. Go well with it.
Great. Thank you very much, Adam. All the best.
Cheers. Bye now.